See if you can get a little momentum going your way.
It's Cavontae Turpin in the backfield. He lost the ball. That is on the floor and it's picked up by Zach Bond.
DallasCowboys.com, they posted their training camp live, kicking things off. And it's about 20 plus minutes of team period, offense versus defense. And there's a lot of things I was keying in on, but one thing that you can't help but notice, regardless of who you are, is the speed and the effectiveness of Cavante Turpin when he touches the football. But not just any touch of the football, okay? A very specific type of touch. One that involves him doing so while being stationary, lined up in the backfield. Okay, the highest paid special teams player in the National Football League right now, Cavante Turpin, might definitely be a little bit more than that. All right, running back 3. Okay, I don't know. Like I said, day 1 of camp. Running back 1 and 2, whoever leads the team and carries at the running back position at the end of the year is anybody's guess. There's a handful of guys that are all going to have a viable case. But what I'm here to say today is Cavante Turpin on any given Sunday will be RB3. Just a quick 20-minute watch, right? I've seen all that I needed to see. I saw enough to know that our preconceived notions regarding the transition, what they figured out once Brian Schottenheimer had a little bit more control of the offense and the play calling towards the end of the season, very important, that trend continuing. What was that trend? The first 7 carries, I just did 5. I don't know why I just did that. The first 7 carries of the season for Cavante last year were one specific type. End arounds, jet sweeps, reverses, those types of things. Okay? The final 5 carries where his yards per carry total went from about 3 for the first 7 to almost 10 for the ensuing 5. A nuance, a seemingly small but incredibly significant detail. One thing that Brian Schottenheimer figured out, surely with the help of others, okay? But still, he's the guy who had the biggest hand in it last year, who is still around this year. Shotty did something, and he unlocked an ability of Cavante Turpin, a superpower, a secret superpower of his. And my hypothesis as to why that is, and we're gonna refresh our memory on why this is so significant. Okay, what exactly is it? Why does it matter about how he's getting the football? It's not just put the ball in his hands and let him go, run fast. It sounds great, but putting him in the backfield, in my opinion, and I'd love to ask Cavante Turpin this. Maybe I will if I get a chance next weekend this coming weekend whenever I'm there. Handing him the football going north and south much more closely simulates what he sees as a return man. Okay, the Turpin thing. Brady made a point. This is one of my more passionate takes. I've got a couple different projects allocated to this topic specifically. Like, this was one of our homework assignments over the summer. Figuring out, like, okay, what do the Cowboys got to do to be more effective running the football? One of the things that we unpacked and uncovered was what Tom Brady referenced after the Turpin fumble. He said that getting a guy, and Hall of Fame quarterback, arguably the greatest of all time. Who am I to dispute him? But I'm going to stand on what I believe, and you guys can tell me if I'm stupid if you want to. That's fine. But this is my firm belief based on lots of homework, research, and due diligence, but especially studying this specific situation featuring Cavante Turpin running the football, or just Cavante out of the backfield, right? Getting him going east to west, handing him the football, manufacturing him touches east to west is not his skill set. Tom likened it to that more closely simulates what he sees as a return man. I could not disagree more. And the data actually backs that up. And I have more personal data. Once again, I'm very convicted on this topic. Now, Tom, the game today is already slightly different than it was at the end of his career. Or at least when he was in his prime, it's very different. What works now based on defensive related personnel. Okay, but the gist is McCarthy and Shoddy last year in 2024 found out that handing Cavante Turpin the football going north and south was 3 times more effective based on yards per carry than it was when he was going east to west. Three times. His per carry total went from the first 5 carries of the season, they manufactured him touches with the jet sweep, the jet motion stuff, right? East to west game. 3.2 yards per carry on end arounds, reverses, jet sweeps. East to west stuff, right? The next 7 carries in a row, I tracked this, and this is on this channel. You can go see it. An average of 9.2 yards per carry on the next 7 carries in a row. They put him in the backfield as the lone setback. Dak under center, or whoever it was, whichever quarterback it was, under center. That is what more closely simulates what Cavante is used to seeing in the return game, because it's his field of vision moving this direction. You can't see gaps when you're running parallel to the actual line of scrimmage. Everything is in front of him, not to his left or to his right in the return game. Does that compute? Hopefully you guys follow me on that. Okay. I'm gonna assume that we're clear there. North and South tripled Cavante's yards per carry total. Okay, that's what you got to know. The second thing you got to know, and why I think Tom Brady was inaccurate with his statement about it was a dumb decision to hand Cavante the football. Remember, we only care when bad things happen. It's like CeeDee Lamb spraining his ankle at the beginning of the season. That also happened with him basically as a running back. Out of the backfield, manufactured touch, get him the football. People said, should never be having CeeDee Lamb in there in the backfield to begin with. When if the reality is those same people would be clapping and praising Shoddy and CD and company had CeeDee Lamb broken that tackle there and sprinted 40 plus yards down the end zone for a touchdown. Nobody cares. But we only care when something goes wrong. Okay, Tom mistakenly mentioned that was the wrong way to give Cavante the football. That's the right way. Shoddy knows that. Shoddy was around last year. He was in the building when they made that adjustment for Cavante's manufactured touch types. Very clear. Very black and white. Very evident. But where Tom also went wrong was forgetting to account for the modern hybridized defense that features 5 and sometimes 6 defensive backs on the field, but everybody else, edges that can spot drop into coverage these days, linebackers that are running sub 4.5s now, that everybody else can fly sideline to sideline, east to west, and pursue, especially from depth, just as almost as quickly as Cavante Turpin can. You notice those big, like, long developing run plays with action at the mesh point, or just jet sweeps in general, like just generic end around type east to west ball carrying stuff. You don't see it splash anymore. There's a reason for that. That's because everybody's faster. Defenses had to account for, they had to restructure themselves. And it was a 10-year period of time before they really caught up to the postmodern spread, the aerial attacks, right? The pass happy offenses. The defenses had to catch up, and they've caught up now. So not only does Cavante Turpin have better success moving north and south when he's carrying the football, because that is actually what replicates what he sees when he's returning kicks and punts. But not only is that the case, what's also the case is defenses are faster, man. That stuff just simply doesn't fool people anymore. That's the end around, the reverse or the double reverse. That was stuff that you used to do back in the day when linebackers weighed 265. It's 2025 now. It's a different sport. Sadiqa stays hyping me up. I see you, and I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. And by the way, here's means to supporting the channel for those of you who are interested. We got options, man. Where are we at? Oh, here we go. The season of giving. Okay, so with that in mind now, too, the last thing I wanted to say is just like a relatable topic. I'm sitting there in my living room and the Cowboys are electing to have the Eagles re-kick to Kavontae Turpin, who I've already seen fumble the football. I've already seen bobble a screen pass. I've already seen, there was one other instance, I think maybe 2 or 3 instances at the very least, when, he's just shaking himself. He's checking his hands, right? Like, come on, Cavante, just like pep talks. He's pressing. And it's actually an admirable trait. It's an admirable way to mess up, because, guys like Cavante are messing up, going like, he's trying to score touchdowns every time he touches the ball. I respect it. Sometimes his head just gets going a little too fast, right? His mind, like, he starts running before he secures whatever it is. Like, y'all understand, like, him tripping in the backfield and then hitting his elbow on his own offensive lineman's leg, which is really what caused the fumble. Like, that is all a byproduct of the human element of sports psychology, a little bit of nerves and anxiety, right? Just like not being settled into the rhythm of the football game yet. Your feet still feel like it's hard to pick them up. That's your body's natural reaction to a fight or flight mode. Your senses go funny. All of a sudden, your shoulder pads start to feel a little heavy. You start to notice different things about the way that you're breathing. Right? You start to pick up on different sounds when you're in that moment, in that zone. It's that tunnel vision after that norepinephrine dump. You get that adrenaline dump, and it's like you're a different person. It's almost like an out of body experience. I was addicted to that. I love that. But what happened on that fumble is a result of a guy just not being settled in yet. Okay, so what I'm getting at is, after I had been scarred by Cavante's
pressing a little bit, much like CeeDee Lamb, not securing the football all day long. And then the Cowboys thereby making the decision just to try to generate an explosive play. Once again, which I get it. I'm all about it. Like Cavante tried to go make something happen. He can turn the football game on its head. And I understood why they were doing it. But for just the way that my head processes football, I'm thinking to myself, God, please don't make this guy try to because it becomes a thinking game at that point. Just extra time to dwell on, dang it, man, I fumbled the ball already today. I got to catch this one. That's pressing. And that's when dumb stuff happens. So I'm sitting there like, please, man, Shotty, just take the ball at the 20 and let's go. Don't risk something catastrophic. Like, it's already been a weird game to begin with. You got Jake Ferguson fumbling the football out of bounds, luckily. Saquon Barkley fumbling the football. Their punt returner fumbling the football. Our punt returner fumbling the football as a running back in the backfield. Both quarterbacks, I don't know. Did Hurts end up throwing an interception? I don't think anybody had a pick. Dak throwing an interception. Just weird game. Missed field goals from the best in the sport. Weird game. Roughed punts. Or roughed punters that extend drives. A weird game. Please, man, don't make Cavante do more than he needs to. Anyway, I thought that was a little stressful moment that I wanted to share. I figured surely I'm not the only one that felt that, but who knows? I know I'm overly analytical sometimes, so just curious. Yes, like as far as individual performances go, man, I always have to go back. I don't ever know. So like you'll key in on, certain guys who obviously people like George Pickens are obvious. Certain guys will flash in certain moments, but you never truly know how a player performed because nobody's watching the same player every single snap of the football game. Most people, I should say, aren't doing that. And I dang sure am not. But even if they were, they're still not getting an accurate depiction of reality because they don't have the time, first of all, to slow down and evaluate, okay, how are they matching personnel? How is the defense aligned? What does the offense look like? What is their personnel package? What is their alignment or their splits? What is that telling us? What is that dictating? Right. So it's a chess match going on. There's too much to think about and process in real time. But even if you could, the angle of the live television broadcast doesn't show you the full picture to begin with either. You can't really see corners all that often. You really can't see safeties unless they're glorified box linebackers and you're playing against Derrick Henry. Then you can see the strong safety. He's right there 4 yards at depth behind the line of scrimmage, ready to stop the run. But you get the point. Individual performances, man, I don't really. That's always just like throughout the week process of me just sort of uncovering and unpacking what everybody did, how people looked. That takes me a little bit of time. It is what it is.